Hey, this is Eli Campbell. You know, Steamboat is renowned worldwide for skiing, biking, and all that our natural playground has to offer. We're fortunate, though, that the natural beauty here attracts more than just outdoor enthusiasts. From local legends to world-class acts, amazing musicians regularly play the venues in our little corner of Northwest Colorado. Join me as I explore the stories and experiences of these talented artists who bring unforgettable performances to Steamboat. This is your Steamboat Soundcheck. Welcome to the Steamboat Soundcheck podcast. Eli Campbell here with you, continuing our series highlighting WinterWonderGrass musicians. I'm really excited to be joined right now by Daniel Donato, who is in the car on the way to a writing session, but taking some time with us. So how are you doing today?
Great, man. Looking at RCA Studio A, where Chet Atkins made so many great records, where Marty Robbins recorded, and Dolly Parton and Jerry Reed and Charlie Pride, and about to try to write a song with my buddy Brent Cobb here today, and it's great.
Yeah, man, you're in an area where there's so much musical history, and I kind of want to go back to some of your beginnings. It's well documented that Guitar Hero introduced you to some of the real masters of the guitar, and I guess you're kind of a living testament that video games aren't just melting kids' minds. There's a spark that can be put in there, and I myself, I was a pretty good. I crushed Monkey Wrench back in the day on Guitar Hero, but it never translated to the actual guitar for me. What was it about that game that clicked for you that made you kind of inspired to really try to expand more on the actual guitar?
I think a lot about this because when you're younger, have that you have ambition, and there's also a foolishness that comes with that ambition. And I've noticed a lot that as I get older, I become what I do. And I wasn't specialized in anything yet. And so I thought I could just do it. And it didn't even really occur to me that it was going to be something I was going to do for the rest of my life. And I remember just when I started playing guitar, I knew right away that was it for me. That's what I wanted to do and dedicate my life to doing. And everything that proved out to be difficult were only opportunities for me. And, I was talking to a friend of mine who I went to high school with years ago. And I was talking to him the other day, and he was like, man, yeah, you and I started guitar at the same time. And it just hurt my hands, man. It hurt my head. And all the things that ended up that were hard about it were just opportunities for me to love it even more.
Yeah.
Which is why I think there needs to be love in the dream, or it will never come true. I think I think it's real.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of high school, it was in high school when a teacher introduced you to the Grateful Dead, which kind of got you into that jam band type of music, which, you're in Nashville, you're amongst the greatest country musicians of all time, and now you're kind of inspired to create this improvisational element that you're now calling cosmic country. How did the country scene react when you started bringing that jam-oriented approach to your music in these traditional country spaces?
I don't think anyone liked it.
Did you know anyone else that was doing something similar at the time?
Yeah, when Sturgill Simpson came out with Meta Modern Sounds in country and western music, the record he did with Dave Cobb was the second record he had done with Dave. Then people like Margot Price and a lot of other artists that live in Nashville that people may not know, Lily May, Joshua Headley, they should be known because they're such astounding artists. That kind of style of old-timey country with intense musicianship started to make its way into what the collective was listening to. But before 2014, that was just kind of a scene that happened in East Nashville. it happened at the Five Spot. It would happen at the Stone Fox. It would happen in these small clubs where you can get a Jack and Coke for 5, $7 kind of a thing. And, you know, but even then, I was still way too far out for people, even in Nashville, I think, to really, and I wasn't organized. I didn't know what I was doing very well. Um, so really, I had to leave Nashville. I had to get a van and head west, and that's a tale as old as time.
There's plenty of musicians that can tell that tale as well. And your sound, that cosmic country sound, it's not just music for you. It kind of connects with some of the deeper philosophies that you hold, the ideas of the yin and the yang, or the idea of duality, which I know is something that you're a student of, Carl Jung's teachings. How
Oh
does
yeah.
that concept of balance and contrast play into your songwriting and your creative process?
Well, it's just in my life, and it's some days it's really hard. Some days I feel like a phony because you know, the cosmic country thing, you think it's supposed to be all about positivity, and it's supposed to be about um, everyone loving each other, but love is not that simple. And then you have to hold on to what is ultimately transcendent and just is. And it feels true to me all the time, but sometimes it's just the dancing bareness of it is not always so readily available in present moments. And some days it's easy, and it really, there are these cosmicities that happen, and it just feels like a dream some days. And then some days it's really hard, and there's hard conversations, and there's heartfelt truths that need to be talked about it um with people in my life. Like, there'll be someone that comes up to me at a show, and they'll tell me afterwards, about something that they're going through, and I come to realize that uh, it's I, when I was younger, I was thinking that it was happiness that was the thing, that, and it's not. It's meaning, I think, because that's an anchor that endures the storm. When the waters get rocky,
Yeah.
when the rock and the waters are placid and smooth, that's when everything's happy and calm. But you need an anchor there. Um, yeah, I could spend hours talking about all that. Really, I really could, because I think about it for hours every day.
Yeah, I mean, the philosophical teachings and influences, are certainly important to you. You've also talked about the role of psychedelics in expanding your perspective before, and there's a little bit of a stigma around it. It's not just about wild visions and cosmic experiences, though. For you, you've talked about it in the mental health realm as well. Can you expand on how that's influenced your personal well-being, and talking kind of just like you were saying about kind of finding that mental place of anchor and well-being within yourself?
Oh yeah, well, I think the anchor is indwelling, and is in the metaware, uh, not hardware nor software. I think at birth, and I think the psychedelics have, outside of my own personal experience, I can't really speak to anybody else about it. I had two experiences that were awesome reminders, and then every other experience after that, I've I think I see it for what it is, and I certainly do not subscribe to the idea that it's necessary for anybody to partake and in that, and and I think it's a very delicate topic, and it's turned into somewhat of a political thing. So really, just for me individually, I had two times where it was just a great reminder of what was already there, and a reminder of the idea of what a miracle it is to be able to have the opportunity to serve what it is that you love, and who it is that you love, and to expand the bandwidth in which you can receive love and give love, because as you freely receive, you must freely give. And that there's another yin and yang. There's an as above, so below. I think all the the maze that it all is just fraught with that intelligent design. And I just marvel at it. And as I get older, I do them less.
Yeah.
I do. Because I'd seen a lot of things where I saw people consistently taking psychedelics, and I saw them revert, and have a retrograde in, or a regression in their moral realization, and that was good too. And the last thing I'll say about the psychedelic experience is, if I think if there's usually one encounter or an experience that a person will have, and then it seems like everything they do for the rest of their life is kind of has an essence of that spirit that imbues it, whether it be a design, whether it be a song, whether it be a body posture in a dinner with somebody. It'll just be whatever it is. And so I think it does have the potential to turn people on to certain spiritual realities. But there's also plenty of people that are completely in tune with those spiritual realities. I've never touched them that I've met. So I really think it's an individual
Yeah,
deal.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And obviously, so many influences have come from your past into your music that came together a couple of years ago when you released the Reflector album, which is kind of a unique album in today's music world, in that every song is great in and of itself, but it plays together as a whole album, where most artists, most musicians nowadays are just putting out a lump of singles. Why is it important to you to really kind of put that effort into telling the story from the start of the album to the end of the album and make it so that it is one cohesive element, kind of true to what making a record used to be?
Everything's a story. And like Jung said, your life is a story. You want to find out what kind of story it is fast, so you can decide and realize what kind of character you are today and what kind of character you could be tomorrow. And so I try to serve the story, and language is serves a sentence is made up of words, and even in a biblical sense, it's suggested that the word was the first thing, and that's just in the West. And in the East too, the the need for a story, like take a hero's journey. The Buddha story is a hero's journey, and then the character that everyone knows in the West is there's also a hero's journey there. And I just think that your life is a story, my life is a story. Anyone who's listening to this, their life is a story, and it's filled with adventure, and it's filled with darkness, and it's filled with light, and an experience that ties all of those together. And so the album format is a format to convey a story, and within the big story there are small stories, just like your life. Your life is a story, then you'll have a story that happened today. Maybe that's a song, you know, there's always a story happening, and I just love that
Yeah.
trade of life.
Yeah.
It allows me to feel like that there is some sort of a cosmic authorship potential, um, where Ram Dass, who was actually really well integrated in both Eastern and Western values and meanings and facts. Um, you know, like he had this idea of like that there's you are observing you. And so, but if you get too attached to you, you stop observing you. But only when it is that you observe yourself can you have more control over your free will and actually make decisions that are morally uh, harmonious with what it is that you want to do with your life, and whatever it is in that moment. And sometimes I just get so freaked out. I get so anxious that I just forget to observe myself. And then I just remind myself that this is all the story. It's even in children's fairy tales, row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Well, you had a dream last night. Well, tell me about it. I'll tell you a story. It's all a story. And I think just realizing that it makes life way less scary, and it gives you more reins over the horse that it is.
Certainly does. Now, I assume that you probably took that same approach when you were just in the studio last week,
Yeah.
starting to record your next album, which is the follow-up to Reflector. What can we expect? What kind of journey and story are you telling with this new album, and what's the evolution of your music?
Well, I think we'll call it Horizons. It's the first time I've ever said this in public. A horizon is where the it's it whether it's illusory, but it's when the sky in your line of physical vision meets the land. So it's where the earth meets the portal to what is highest, and the domain of what is highest. And then psychologically there's a meaning too, where with your mental and mindal vision, it's the limit of your conception or hypothesis or understanding about something. And so I like horizons. It seems we're always trying to broaden our horizons as people, and we don't really need to be taught to do that. We just naturally want to do that. And I wonder why sometimes. Uh, and it's me trying to broaden my horizons, and hopefully there can be some songs and stories on there that help other people in their experience of broadening their own horizons.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll hear some of those songs and stories in about a month from now when we're together at WinterWonderGrass. I have to admit, last year I came into the festival. I didn't know much about you. When your main stage set started, I was actually in the kids' tent watching my sons get their face painted. I was mingling with some parents. And about one song in, I literally walked out mid-conversation. I was just like, I've got to go check out what's
Oh
going
no!
on stage. It was one of the most energetic sets of the weekend. Certainly not the traditional bluegrass that some people still associate with Winter Wondergrass. And I think that's too bad because over the years, Scotty and the crew, they've done a great job balancing traditional bluegrass like Trampled by Turtles and Kitchen Dwellers with, simply great musicians like yourself or the California Honey Drops that are going to be there this year. There's a place for a broader spectrum of sound at this event. How do you see your place within this festival, and what makes Winter Wondergrass so special to you?
Oh well, um, Scotty is a righteous person to work with, and that deserves to be mentioned because there's a lot of people that I've had the opportunity to work with, and hopefully more. And Scotty's one of the righteous ones, and so I think he does what's necessary in terms of what's required of him to create an event that has bandwidth for a community that is as realized as the Winter Wondergrass community is. There's a lot of events that can they can kind of succumb to the need to expand too fast, or maybe wrench too much out of the cash flow that's coming in, and it ends up putting the community experience in a secondary place. And I think that the second that that's done, the baby's out with the bathwater, and the community is just primary in the Winter Wondergrass experience, and in the Cosmic Country universe, that is all we think about. Anytime that we start selling more tickets, the show gets more put into it, and the experience for everybody becomes more sophisticated and realized. And I love that so much, and that's just on the people that are giving the musicians energy that are off the stage, and for the musicians that are on the stage and on the roster each year. It's really an intensive curation of American music that is happening, and it has a justified and unique amalgamation of all these artists that seemingly wouldn't relate to each other, but when they get unified into the festival, everything just seems to make sense, and it creates such a beautiful experience for everybody. I love it. It really is a huge honor to be able to play Winter Wondergrass. When I was first trying to get Cosmic Country its wheels off the ground, I had message Winter Wondergrass maybe once a month for maybe like 2 years trying to get on the festival just from my own page. And I can see why now that it wasn't in the cards then, but I've just always loved the festival. And I hope it snows even more this year during our set
They
because we have to
always
do what we did last year.
Yeah, it always brings snow. I've always told Scotty if we're having a bad snow year here in Steamboat, he just needs to plan more festivals because every time he's got snow coming in. Now, to that end, I just, your typical concerts are known for high energy, which you bring to Winter Wondergrass, but they're also known for length, going well past 3 hours sometimes. Winter Wondergrass, you've got kind of a set time limit to fit in alongside those other amazing acts. How do you approach that kind of condensed set while still trying to deliver the authentic cosmic country experience?
Well, authenticity can happen in whatever story format that it is. And so if we have a shorter story that we can tell that night, the authenticity, the responsibility for that just falls on me to curate a set list that gets to the point probably a little bit quicker because we have less context to work within and compound on. But that's fine. Um, Ernest Hemingway talks about trying to write very succinctly, and he could tell a story in 5 words. On a sad note, he had the sentence, "Baby shoes for sale, never worn." I'm like, oh well, there's a story. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's 5 words, not even 60 minutes. So if he can tell a story in 5 words, I will try to tell a decent story within whatever time we have this year. I think it's probably anywhere between 60 minutes and 90 or something. But you know, yeah, and you just got to keep it fun too.
And that's one thing I know about your set. It's going to be fun. Winter Wondergrass coming up February 28th through March 2nd. You can get your tickets at winterwondergrass.com. I know you've got to get off to a writing session, so I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much for taking some time this morning. Can't wait to see you here in about a month.
Thank you so much, and um, yes, bring your hand warmers, everybody, and if you leave the tent, bring your kids with you. That'll be good.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'll see
My
you guys.
kids should have seen what I saw last year instead of getting their face painted. I'll say that much.
Maybe I'll be getting my face painted too. Yeah.